To whom it may concern, welcome to the third episode in a row of this podcast. Let's call it podcast from now on. This week there is many changes, many new things has happened and are going on. I don't know if you're able to notice, but one of the main things that changed is that uh, the camera where I then usually like it's my phone uh, that I normally record this episode with died this last week. So well, that was quite a story that we'll go through it now. But my phone completely died, so now I'm using a new one. So different quality. I hope it's better because it's a super cheap phone, but still, with technology moving on and technology advancements, things have get a bit better in terms of quality. Sound-wise, same sound that we used last time. I will keep using the headset on because I really notice a difference in terms of audio quality, especially in post-production. And the other thing is that change the chart and increase the noise filter so that there is no more weird sounds from my chart while I was moving and talking at the same time. So this is more or less the situation on these weeks. I've really enjoyed following some news and some topics, so I decided to save some of them, and that's what is mainly gonna happen this week. I thought about doing the weekly recap of what I do, but I think it's quite extended time. It doesn't give that much content is not that useful unless something specifically happens, which we'll go through if that's the occasion. But if not, I think I'll avoid it. I'm doing what I'm actually doing is a monthly, well, not monthly, a weekly diary. Like I'm writing notes on my days, on what I'm doing, what I'm not, what is going on. I started doing it on my phone on Google Keep Notes, but since I have an iPad and I can write it in, I think I can show it to you like here. So, and I've been using this for a long time. Someday we'll go through on my use. The use that I gave to my iPad is an iPad Pro from 2018. It's like super long ago. Um, so yeah, pretty much if you can see here, I leave a screenshot if I remember to. I just take notes and write it like if it was a journal on paper, but on the iPad, which is what I'm more used to. So yeah, we're gonna skip that part because I didn't quite like that, and I'm not able to provide any utility in building that. And we're gonna go through different news, different things that I found and that I wanna reflect on. But let's start with the topic that I introduced the day with, which is the catastrophic death on my phone. I've been using this little baby, for I would say 4 5 years already. Uh, as you can see it's all cracked around here because I dropped it from the couch to the floor, and I don't think camera is gonna be able to capture it. But if you can see, it's starting to bump out. So there's like a little curvature from the battery, uh, and it's been dying over time. Like GPS didn't work, like the network connection didn't either. Phone calls was so, and yeah, it got to a point that it stopped working. This happened on a Friday night, all of a sudden, right before going to sleep, and I found myself with a phone. So that's a problem. I didn't use it that much, but like I realized how important those devices are because yeah, I'm not a guy that uses social media a lot. I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter or Instagram or even playing phones. I just playing games. I just watch some videos, get some emails, not even emails, get some calls, get some WhatsApps done. But most of the time I'm on my laptop, which is here, or on the iPad. This thing, I don't use it that much. But when you don't have one, it's like you're missing a piece of your soul. And this is a good thing and a bad thing because I realize how important those are, even though I'm not a super intense user. But phones has become something there's no replacement for it. There's no way, there's no going back with them. And you could like them more or not, you can use them more or not, but they're super useful. Even though you can watch the TV and not watch videos here, I don't have any other tool to give a call. Thank God WhatsApp allows 7 days without having a device on WhatsApp web. So I was able to communicate with family or friends or whatever who I needed. But if not, you're literally lost in the world, which it's quite scary. Because we got to a point that without these devices we cannot work. Like if I wanted, I tried to go to the gym, I needed this to open through a quick QR code. If it was Monday and I had to go to work, I would need to use an app to open the doors of the office. Calls, obviously, well, they're like those phone in the old ones, but I don't have any of those here. The supermarket apps for discounts like codes, products, and everything also here. It's like a tool. Like music is here. There are no other devices. Like phones are getting. Man, I knew that they're important, but to that point, like I was like for a day, which is not that much. But on Sunday, because I bought one that should arrive, thanks to Amazon, thank God, that arrived in 2 days. I bought it like last minute on Friday, and I got it back on Sunday midday, like afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. But like the first hour was okay, but the second one, like, I have no alarm to wake up. Um, you kind of feel naked. You kind of feel naked without a phone, and that's scary. I have to say, like phones, wow, tough. So yeah, like thank God I got a new one, super cheap. Like I didn't use it for that much. I'm really using them now for the camera. That's the only thing I care about because I want to have video evidence as well as audio evidence of the things I'm doing. But man, what a tough weekend! Like I have to say. But what? Luckily, I got it back. I have gone through half of the things I needed to. But and for this, it's no setup requirement. I just connect OBS, Ninja OBS, and send my camera, and then I sync the audio both together in post production, which is good. So yeah, that's my reflection. Like phones are scary, and they become a part of us for mainly anything. And it's unlikely to think living without one of them right now. Like even the bank accounts, everything is on the phone now, which is really good. But if you lost it or you don't have one or anything happens, ooh, that moment's gonna be scary, I would have to say. So yeah, that's one main topic of my week, news-wise. I sent some assignments on big data and Power BI and dashboards that I will leave those to when I'm done because I'm starting to consider going over some topics, some things of marketing and business, besides notes on things I'm learning and things I'm working on, besides this or what I could do on the rest of my day. So I'll leave that when I have a full schedule, a full structure of things I want to talk about big data based on my approach. So you guys take a look and understand it as well. So basically, I would say that's it. We can start by talking about some other topics. You already know I have my screen here and the camera up here. So you see difference talking. I'm still frustrated about that. I mean, related to this, we can see, let's watch one program from NVIDIA. NVIDIA, I contact webcam. It's from NVIDIA and NVIDIA, yeah, accept. And now we're gonna add it here. Basically, NVIDIA launched as part of their software a new tool that allow eyes to constantly be looking at the screen non-stop. This is really interesting because most of the time what happens is you don't have your camera lens in front of your eyes and your screen at the same level. You could have your screen here to check where you're recording, how your recording is going, or to check news, and the camera's on the other side, like mine is above, things like that happens. And that's why many YouTuber or things like, for example, Casey Neistat uses sunglasses. So he actually avoids this malfunction of looking one place, like this misperception that you're not looking at the audience, which in reality is what we need to. We need to look at the audience because we are directly sending our message towards you. Like there's no one else but the camera lens, and the camera lens is like the connection, like the channel that links the receptor and the sending guy, which in this case is my or anyone. So based on this one, NVIDIA launched this new tool that I want to go over. So let me capture the screen. Google. Great. Have it here. Let's see. Okay. And now I just need to make sure I don't break anything. Okay. I'm trying to figure it out. Give me a second. I need properties. No, I need filters. This is what happens when you don't prepare things how they're supposed to. But there we go. Top 100, top 500, 400, 300, 400, and that is 400. Yep. And now we put it on the corner. Right here. Perfect. Transition. So yeah, on this right corner, you're seeing the technology and was actually trying to explain to you, which is the broadcast update. And there's some demonstration about it, about the eye contact. This is really interesting. They do it in their own software. I already tried the sound, like the noise cancel video, but look at the guy, how he's actually looking constantly at the camera. And sometimes it fails, but I think it's a really, really interesting technology of, well, putting background blur, putting things, and using the eye contact technology for any sort of video production. I still not sure if that's something I want to use on this channel, on the like the video editing, production, whatever you call it. The background and things like that are really useful, but constantly be looking at the camera could get a bit weird because humans are not used to full eye contact vision all the time. If you think about it on any conversation with friends, most of the time you're not looking directly at them. You're looking below, one side, phone, what your table, but not constantly into the eyes because this could be a little bit intimidating. It could be like direct contact visions means getting super into his area, like those private areas that we have, like too close, not too close, not too far away, but yeah, direct contact could be a little bit weird, and people could get uncomfortable with those kind of situation. So actually making it to this extent of constantly looking here, not here, not here, not expressing, I don't know, feels as a super good idea, but it would be even like perfection would be automatic distinction of when it's more human to look at the camera instead of here. Because if I'm looking here, it's not that I have nothing here. It's like I'm not used to watching on top. So that's when this program, it would be ideally that autocorrect your eyesight towards the camera. But what if I'm reading? I'm actually going through an article, like right now in the web page. I'm scrolling down. I don't want the program to actually correct my eyes because I'm reading this, and you actually need to understand that I'm reading this at the same time you're reading. So yeah, it's a good idea, and I've been following for a while. People have used it. It works. It solves many problems, and I think in the future, with time, with deep learning and all these programs, this technology will get even better and better and better. And for any video conference where you need to talk to a client, or you need to be constantly looking at, and it's like mandatory. Yeah, for those kind of situations, it's fine because yeah, you're sitting there quiet or talking sometimes, looking at one straight point. So it's not the best if they see you like putting your head down. That's like this kind of thing where your eyes are like looking down because your phone is strictly below the webcam. For those kind of situations, I think it's already working really, really well. So if any of you need a tool to improve, like to avoid uh, looking at the phone and bosses getting angry at you, use it, give it a try. I think it's a really, really powerful tool. So yeah, this is the NVIDIA software, and this, this came out. I did excuse me. Ooh, tough. So the other one, I came with some of them prepared, but and we're gonna watch it again. It's about piracy. Um, Piracy is a big thing in general on in the internet world. Many people pirate games, many people pirate apps. We are trying to save some money. Piracy has been around since the beginnings of time. Even Spotify was first looked at some kind of piracy app. Spotify, yeah, the same one we know, and like important people like Miley Cyrus actually went into court to defend like the music was public available on a free service, and now it's elsewhere. And Spotify is the most used app for music, and everyone's know that, and there it's not that weird. But time ago, like some years ago, it wasn't like that. Spotify, with all the piracy rising, internet coming out, YouTube, it was a big thing. We have to remember one thing, which is piracy doesn't come when the internet was born. It comes way before that. Like people already copied films at home and they resell it on anywhere at the street. So piracy has been something that it's been extended for decades, I could even say. So the fact that they still carry on right now is to not surprise to any of us. But here is the dilemma where when you're downloading something without paying, I mean, at the end of the day, is the job of another person. Mm, so that's an issue for them because they are trying to make that a living out of what they do, what they put online, video games, music, whatever. And when we pirate those things, it's kind of stealing their jobs in a way. Okay. So there is a lot of debate about it, and then there's the other debate of people saying if you pirate something one day when you can't buy it again, which is another debate. And people say, well, I'm gonna pirate some things, try, and if I like it, I will buy them. Yeah, there is many approaches to the same situation, to the same topic, and there is not one that rules over the others, and many laws has been tried to be put on. Like EU brought many rules about copyright. Many platforms on lockdown every day to stop promoting piracy, to stop putting films up there, and many still keep coming. So it's not something that's gonna end, and something we need to adapt with. And we just need to have our own approach and be as rational as possible. We all have pirated something once, but if the day comes where your needs are satisfied and you can actually buy those things or buy that product, or at least buy one out of 20, I think that's a moment where we should change from going pirates everywhere and pirating everything to actually buying. And this all comes because of a tweet that I saw that I want to share back with you. Okay. Let's give a bit of context of who I'm gonna introduce you. This is Edmund Macmillan. This is a video game producer of one of the most famous games in the past decades, which is The Binding of Isaac. We're not gonna try to explain what is The Binding of Isaac, but this is a really, really, really famous game that has one key thing inside it, which is super easy to pirate. Like, and when I say super easy, it's like you can buy it and they actually give you the files to copy and paste in another laptop. That simple, which means one person can buy it, put it online, and everyone can download the same game. They ask him why. Why do you do that? And this is when I wanna actually. This is why I wanna actually go through the video. So I'm gonna once again change the properties. Perfect. And then we're gonna watch it. So this is Edmond, and yeah, this is the question. Why do you give the X files? X is the format of the file that allows to open an application, a game, or whatever. So he gave everything. He doesn't put any constraint. He doesn't put any anti-download, anti-cheat, anti-whatever. He just gave it to you. And he says the following. It's like, I have 50, and we're gonna watch it, and then we're gonna see. I'll stop it because everybody watch it. I'll stop it at the point that I wanna mention and highlight.
I get a lot of emails and tweets similar to this that basically said, I pirated your game, or I made copies of your game for friends of mine at school, and I hope you don't mind. I eventually bought the game, whatever.
So up to this point is pretty clear. He just said that people do what I said. I bought it and I make copies from friends. Well, this is a much lower scale of what actually happens, which is one person does it, put it public on the internet, and everyone can download it from the same platform. Those who has downloaded pirate games know what I'm talking about. So that's his introduction.
And I've been pretty public on my stance on piracy, which is I don't believe it matters. I don't believe the people who pirate games would end up buying the game, and I think a high majority of them are people who can't afford the game, or the game isn't in their country. I pirated games when I was young, when I couldn't afford them.
So up to this point, there are a few topics. He actually don't mind about the topic. This is one of the postures that could happen. I'm gonna take it while I speak. So Edmund doesn't care if people pirate the game or not, but he's also very coherent with the answer, saying that he knows, which is one of the statements many people do, that if you pirate the game, most likely you won't buy it. And that's true. Like 90% of the people who pirate the game won't ever buy it because you have already pirated the game. Unless you're a collectioner, unless there's something specific about the game, some high-end quality, but only by buying the game, and after a while you unlock, you will do it. But you won't, which is true. And that's not bad, but it's also not the majority of people. Like if everyone would pirate the game, then we will talking on a different situation. And there is second point of the on the speech that is what actually matters most is people who can afford the games. That's true. There are many people who can afford games and that are unable. It's either a game or food, or a game or other activity. It doesn't need to be that bad. But you want to do another activity, and games are not on your priority list. So you spend the money where you find is more suitable for, and then you pirate the game you like. It's fine. At the end of the day, what can you do? Are we gonna actually avoid any kind of piracy? People will go crazy with that. And then there is the second point, which I think is totally valid and many people don't think about, is many times games are not in your country. And this is one of the main things that I am super in favor with. Like the availability of films and games is not worldwide. Games tend to happen less in Europe because it's more open, but the catalog of films, it's super restricted to the platform. If we extrapolate to films, we have HBO, Netflix, Disney, Amazon. There are one for pure films, five or six if you watch any some sort of anime. There's one more at least. So at the end of the day, you have six. And then if you want music, you have Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, Amazon Prime Music, YouTube Music. I have no more fingers. If you want to have everything, like imagine I'm a person who wants to pay for everything. How many accounts, how many payments do I need to have to not even bother, like to not have any problems about what I want to watch? If I want to watch something, I knew I will find it. And even after going into 12 different platforms, logging into 12 different accounts, looking into 12 different places or more, there's occasion where it is not available anywhere. All films happens more and more, all video games happens more and more, and then what? You paid and you end up having to lay back on the safe option, which is piracy. This doesn't mean that you pirate because games are not available. Not. They are. This is some specific cases, some specific countries, and some specific legislations. Now with DNSs that allow you to connect to different parts of the world, piracy itself, and companies opening and working across different countries. This is less and less and less frequent, but this is still happening. So I completely agree with this. And my point is, I would be really happy to moving forward, and this is tough as well, having associations where you pay one quote a month and you could have as many games as possible, like the majority of them, majority of them. It's pretty similar to what Xbox is doing with their monthly gaming pass. And I would like to see the same thing with TV and shows going forward. Like back in the days, there was a private TV where you could buy 100 channels, and now you need to buy like 100 different companies and a hundred different platforms, which I hope at some point they reunite, and it's not this mess of a ecosystem that we have right now. Okay, let's keep going with the video.
And I eventually physically purchased a lot of the games that I loved, and that's basically how I feel about it. So if you pirated my games, if you copied my games, if you didn't pay for my games, I don't care. It's a compliment regardless. And I hope that if you're ever one day able to, you will buy something.
I'm going to stop it here for one sentence specifically. Um, he doesn't mind much about piracy, about his game, and he said, if you have done it, it's a compliment either way. And I think this is a really good statement, because many people blame failure on piracy. If people wouldn't pirate my game, I would sell more, blah blah blah. But what if like an incredible amount of people is downloading your game privately and many more is buying it? Like, isn't it like in a way free publicity towards you if you have done things right? I probably have pirated the game, but I would tell someone, and that same person doesn't really need to pirate the game as well. He could actually buy it. And you put a comment on the internet, and 5 people read it, and from those 5, 3 will pirate it, 2 will buy it. So that's an exponential gain upon that. Piracy is not what kills a product, a video, or whatever. It's actually not either super beneficial and not the cause of many making success. But if taking in the right, managing it properly, it could be a good tool for your game to have some more repercussion if things go. But this is passively. This is not an active action that you take. This is a passive action that if it, for some reason, happens around your product or your game, you just use it. You don't try to block it because it's not going to work. And most likely, if you try to block piracy and put people against it, you will end up with more haters than lovers. Let's finish the video with the last part.
But I also don't care too much. But yeah, I just don't think piracy hurts good games, if that makes sense. But thank you. I appreciate anybody who ends up spending money on my stuff, and I also appreciate even more anybody who spreads the word on anything that I've done to get other people to play it, because I'm a firm believer in if somebody likes something that they will end up paying for it. But yeah.
So, well, that's the conclusion. It finally, like, he actually ends up saying what I was saying. Like, piracy would not hurt good products in any sort of way. So yeah, I'm really intrigued. Like many people have different takes on piracy. It's a really controversial topic. As I always say, if we put some common sense from the business perspective on a product that's being pirated, um, most likely there will be nothing that you can do about it. There's ways to actually avoid people pirating a game, taking longer, but at the end they will do it. Many people works toward that because that's what they like doing. Like they practice with that and they give that way to a community. So take it with a grain of salt. Don't think about piracy as a super bad thing that is going around the sector or the market that is going to kill everything. Thinking of a sub-consequence thing that is going to happen either way around, and your posture on it, your position where you stand for, is going to affect it more if you do it wrongly and you manage things wrong, than if you actually take a more neutral position or a more up comprehensive position like Edmund did. So yeah, that was piracy and my take on it. I mainly did it because like I saw it. I've been following Edmund for a while. He really put out a really good game that is super cheap on Steam or any platform, and I really advise any of you that is out there to give it a try on the way you prefer, pirate or not. So one video done. Let's go to the other one. Okay. As I told you, I take inspiration from different sources. Today's second source, it's on second part of the of the of the podcast. These are different blogs. They don't need to be correlated one with the other. They are just simple things that I found on my daily life that I want to share. That's the structure. That's the organizing. That's not what I do. There's not a concrete topic that is going to be carried out at least on this on today. So we talk about NVIDIA software, we talk about piracy, we gave our opinions and thought about it, and the next one is on innovation, improvement, risk, being successful. At the end of the day, anyone who embark on this journey, which could be making silly videos on YouTube, uploading his voice without much sense, opening a shop, starting a bakery, pursuing your goal, traveling around the world, helping kids in undeveloped countries, whatever your mission, your goal, or whatever journey you decided to embark on, you always need to innovate and you always need to improve what has been done before. Because if we just copy things, it will never change. Improvement and innovation are hard things to come around. They won't happen at the beginning. It's unlikely. Only those who really know clear where to innovate or where to improve are those that succeed the fastest. But for the rest of mortals, like you and me, especially me, we try to keep on working a path that has been established before. This has done many times, in my case, putting posts and videos over. And by time you start getting ideas, you start thinking about things, and you start to implement them and change around your product and yourself. So on the same note with this, I want to show you this short, which is really short, LinkedIn post about what I was saying about the matrix of innovation and improvement. So I just have it, I just need to put it right here. Perfect. Right in the corner, I just align the first part and we make the transition. Okay, so I was saying innovation or improvement. This is a really short post that is really powerful, and I think Sama has really good ideas that I want to bring you with me. I just put it in the screen so you can read it and see and reflect on, understand what we were talking. I will leave it on screen and things will appear as we talk about them. But mainly, where does innovation start? Where does it end? And where is improvement on all about this? And at the end of the day, what's the risk do we take on this movement? So this post, what says is that innovation is the successful exploitation of new ideas or new knowledge, assuming risk to achieve unique competitive advantage. This is explained in a business language, which for the rest of us, as I always try to say, is you do what you always have done on the same way, and every day you try to think of things, of ideas, of anything that could be implemented. One day you decide to take the risk of implementing that in your source. Which one? Doesn't matter. But you take the risk and you implemented it. You decided to do it, and from one day to another, you change 1% of your product or yourself or whatever you're doing. And with that, you try to get something out of it, which is be some different, be better, and instead be one step above the competitors. What could end up happening is that it wasn't the right move, it wasn't the right moment, and that it failed, which is the risk of your innovation. Was it an improvement? Not yet. Could it be an improvement? Totally. So innovation and improvement share both a really fine line where new models, new techniques, new things could easily go one way or the other. You could really be innovative, but doesn't improve anything. And you can break the line so easily that it's all a super high risk and you fail. So this model, or whatever, let's try to see these 4 quarters that they trying to explain you, or in a way provide you with some clarence. Those are not meant to give you the key to success, to be different. They in a way try to show you where you are right now, to not take it as a really bad position, and to not theorize so much that you are not even able to understand what the first point was to begin with. So we have, first of all, reward on the y-axis and risk on the x-axis. The more risk, this is super simple, the more risk you take, the most likely the reward will be. Also, the more risky it is, the more possible it gets more probable that you will fail with the same time. Those who are on the high risk, high reward sector, the blue one, are literally 1%. That usually never happens because on an area of information and technology that everyone's not everything, being the first one, taking the risk and succeeding is super low probability. Companies that start and get to the 5-year lifetime is like around 1%, 2%, 3%. I don't have the data clear in my mind right now, but you get the idea. There are much more failures along a path than successes by themselves. So that's the blue one. And yeah, everyone says Sony, Tesla, Apple. Well, Apple is not blue, but Google, those companies who decided to take the risk, like Amazon did in the day, selling books, and they just did it. But what about those who take high risk but didn't gain anything? Well, those are special cases because no one actually want to get no reward out of what they're doing unless you're an anthropologist and you devote your life to improve human life or someone or a topic because you just love it and you just put yourself out there. This is people who constantly try to help and improve uh, undeveloped countries, rare diseases, science in general is that kind of field where your empathy and your heart need to be so big that you're not looking at a reward, you're looking satisfaction of helping others. And this sort of innovation and this sort of improvement, that's pure gold. But it's also the one that is most left behind because no one put attention to people who gain nothing out of their work. It's really hard to maintain and sustain your life, and help doesn't come up very often. So you sacrifice yourself for a cause in thinking that sometime in the future it will pay off. Maybe not your generation, we're talking about generations, like maybe not yours, maybe the second or third generation will see 1% of the improvement and advancements of what you started. So those models are super theoretical, you stay a lot of time in lab, but honestly, those are they are nowhere to express what those warriors do every day. Then we have the low risk, high reward kind of zone. Well, those are, I would say, there's no lack, but those are the opportunities that only those who pay close attention get them. Um, and that they knew how to adapt. So the examples that they give here is WhatsApp, it's Facebook, it's McDonald's, it's Airbnb. All those companies started because they saw an opportunity on the market, but they gain their position and their prestige and nowadays the money, not from where they started working on, but what they follow next. The best example is McDonald's. McDonald's started as a fast food chain. Minute one, the CEO knew that fast food wasn't the way to improve the business, by business to the benefits. He suddenly realized why no one else did prior to him, real estate. If you are actually able to sell many, many burgers in the most concourse places in the world, in the most luxurious streets, the most iconic places, all of a sudden you move out from being a fast food company to owning prestigious places and spots on the most concourse cities, and you have the power of your properties. And that's what he did. He changed his business model from selling fast food to selling fast food that sustained real estate. WhatsApp did the same thing, stayed and then joined Facebook. Facebook added and now jumping into the metaverse and NFTs. It could work or not, but all these companies start at one key activity and then move it and extend it and improve it to an extent. And then we have the 99% of people, which is where you and I are in the red zone. You put low risk and then you got zero reward out of it, which is you wake up at 8 a.m. in the morning, you work 8 hours a day, you get home, and you repeat that for 60 years of your life until you can actually jubilate and spend the last 20 on the money you save. This is the zero sum game. What you're providing gets pretty rooted in the same way. There is not much effort, neither that's high of a reward. It's playing the safe game. It's playing safe in life. It's applying for a job that on the state that is permanent. It's passing an exam for a position that you will never lose. That's the area where many, many people feel to be at. because risk is the mm, worst feeling of all. Like feeling of getting fired, the feeling of losing your job, not getting a new one, not getting paid. Those are bad feelings. Many people don't want to cope up with that, or they have already enough with what they tried. So this framework just allow us to be where we are. And I already told you where most of us are, which is the red zone. Lower percentage in the white zone, those who are from science, congratulations. And for the 1% of the world who live in the higher economic reward and who actually took the opportunity and push hard enough to get out of work, stretching the limit to the extent, those are the guys that we need to learn from. Because we don't need to actually push that hard in every aspect of our life or go to the limit and beyond, like Paul Lightyear said. But we can do it on one aspect in our life, improve that to the maximum, and get something out of it. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to stretch my time and my work capacity to maximum, combining work, masters, and this until I can no more, to see if I manage to make it work and have different business model, business lines going on my life where I could choose and take the best decision that I possibly can. Because I knew that if I play safe, I wouldn't even left my town to begin with. I wouldn't have left it for a second time. And most likely, if I wouldn't play safe, I would never consider leaving this city ever. But I'm already considering it now. So the risk is high. Sometimes it's worth taking it. Depends on the situation. But just put some common sense in your life. Try to analyze what's your quadrant, which one of the four one you're sitting right now, and do a simple reflection. If you're happy, if you feel like life is going well for you, and that's where you want to be, forget this and move on. If somehow you still feel like something's missing, make some research and push those limits. And every time you have a new idea, write it down. And if you are one of those people who said, I have no ideas, I don't have that much in imagination, just try to count backwards from 5 to 1 anytime you're on autopilot mode. And your brain will start moving. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's super high effort for your brain doing things in reverse, changing habits, and all of a sudden, a simple habit change of habit, just literally open new possibilities that you would never even consider before. So this is the innovation and improvement framework that I saw that I wanted to talk because I've been reflecting on this for a long time. And I think it's really, really useful to understand and have in mind. And it actually doesn't have anything to do with piracy or the NVIDIA technology. Those were some more easy news to have. But what actually connects really well with this quadrant is the following news that I have prepared for you. On an article in the BBC, they actually talk about skills that you should have, and it's really funny to see how they do it because they actually talk about like introverts. They talk about the introverts, and it's actually fascinating the way how they do it. The famous, like here, you will be seeing the article right in the screen. Harvard neuroscience scientists, the most underrated skills all successful people have, especially introverts. This really caught my attention because introverts, like why introvert specifically? I mean, I know culture and many profiles have different qualities, but like introvert. So I quickly went through and I saw pick the right format for your message, avoid industry jargon, reduce the amount of effort the audience needs to put in, show your work, write with precision. I was like, isn't it what isn't those skills what everyone actually should be doing? Um, I went over, I read them. Doesn't like those were skills that didn't surprise me a lot. But the but at the same time, I completely agree with because many people don't do. So I still was going around the topic like the headline introverts, introverts, introverts. And me myself, I'm a bit introvert. But I try to understand the position of a person who's completely introvert and one who is completely extrovert to see which difference are obvious and why those skills could help any of us, specifically the opposite field, which are extroverts. So pick the right format for your message, and then you start thinking about it. Well, picking the right format, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's true because if you think about it, anyone who's super extrovert is direct. He has no filter, and he said things how he thought about them without actually a second thought, and he just pop them out of the mind, and then waits for the consequences. Introverts, since they're introverts, and I don't like the word specifically, but they actually think about the message a lot. And most of the time they overthink about it, and they finally share it, and it works quite good most of the time. Sometimes it's super overcomplicated, but most of the time they hit what what they want to say, and they achieve their goals. They are not highlighting on being over anyone, but they get it. Um, this is the second one, which is avoid industry jargon, and I think it's really. I think this is not something about introvert. This is something more related to ego. Uh, Anytime you hear someone talking with super technical wording, without much thought, without actually not explaining, you think that for him or for you or for anyone should be like obvious, like that he just goes right into the point. He says many technical points. That guy has a problem of ego because he's trying to show to you that he has many skills that you don't. And what's usually happen, and this is the funny story, is that you don't ask back. So if the guy literally said a super technical word, you are not able to ask him, why is that? Like, what does that mean? And that is something that, and that's why the introvert doesn't matter. It affects every one of us because we try not to look at foolish, that we don't understand things, or that we don't have the same knowledge. Because it's hard to accept that you don't know something. That's why, first of all, people who hold those kind of terminology are literally dickheads. But we are also kind of the same because we don't push ourselves to ask what does that mean. Because if by somehow that guy literally drop a word that he doesn't even know, you would call him like this. So ask people. My point is, it doesn't matter who you are. If you don't understand, ask. And if that guy is brand new in the company, is super young, but he is still not asking and learn. Because using terminology or not using or asking or not asking, at the end, what you should do is improve yourself. And if you're using terminology, you should ask people, did you understand them? And explain them and prepare. If you didn't understand it, you should ask that person. If you're seeing people don't get the point, you should change your terminology. And that coincide with the third point, which is reducing the amount of effort for the audience. We are here to serve you, literally. We are not here to waste people's time. If you are 1 hour straight listening to a guy who don't understand, who you don't understand, you just waste an hour, and so that other person. So please drop ego, drop the feeling of not knowing a person, and get yourself out there. Ask questions, raise your hand, and make life easier for others and for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you will be home much more relaxed, without not many problems, and feeling better. And the article finished by show your work and write with precision. I mean, those are things that we learn as time goes. Web precisions, I don't really care. This is a hard skill that we should all learn and get better over time. So just get some effort there. But yeah, please show your work to people from this industry, from the same work, from your family. Get it around so you can have more eyes looking and different perspective, and always be open to receive feedback and critics, because those are the things that are gonna push your work to the next level. It is not knowledge, it is not amount of time, it's about perspective and perfection. And perfection come by putting yourself out there, relation having relations with others, and especially getting yourself as a better person at the end of the day, which is what matters. So I think this covers up this short news about skills. Um, excuse me. I think today we cover good topics, interesting ones. I'm just checking my notes to see if I have something else. I don't. Um, so we'll keep going this. For the next week, I will try to bring my own research topic. And maybe do it about a company, about a marketing plan, or about any life thing that I want to talk about or experience. So yeah, we're gonna leave it here. So I always like to end up the same way I start. To whom it may concern, if you got it to this point, thank you. If there is anything from this news, from this reflection that you can use, please apply them with a bit of common sense, because I think common sense is a skill that everyone should be having in their daily life and present in every aspect. So again, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.